Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural McMurray Football Press Conference for the 2023 season, presented by Raising Cane's Chicken and First Financial Bank. The Warhawks season opener against Birmingham Southern College is set for 6 p.m. Thursday in Little Rock, Arkansas's historic War Memorial Stadium. We're joined today by fifth-year head coach Jordan Neal, and to his right is junior linebacker from Prosper High School, Herman Lee. To his immediate left, sophomore center from San Angelo Central High School, Kobe Moore. And to his far left, redshirt freshman quarterback from Abernathy High School via Navarro Community College, Jess Hoel. Coach Neal's opening remarks.
Go ahead.
Excited to be here. Welcome to 2023 football season. I'm excited to be here with these fine gentlemen, and it's been a unique fall camp with our first game taking place on a Thursday, like we have scheduled in Arkansas coming up. But excited to get there. This will be our second time playing against Birmingham Southern in as many years, and I'm just excited to get it going.
Coach, talk about it. Compare where you are in 2023 as compared to where you were at this same juncture in 2022, going to Little Rock to play Birmingham Southern.
Well, I think this time a year ago there's always unknowns going into any season. You know, you've got guys that either graduate or injuries or whatever. You know, your depth chart looks different each year, and you've always got some question marks. But I think this time a year ago we had more question marks about, especially on defense, you know, who was going to be stepping up. I mean, Herman's a good example of this as far as, he had played some as a freshman, but little did we know he was going to break the sack record, at McMurray, for a single season, but he's got that under his belt. We know we had a lot of confidence in him and some of the guys that we felt, that were going to be, starting their first ball game this time a year ago. But man, they've really proven that, and I think that improvement that we saw all year last year on defense and having so many of those same faces back, I think that really. I think that's the main story for us, is just the experience that we've got coming back on defense. So I have a lot of confidence in those guys. I have a lot of confidence in Coach Snyder. Offensively, a few more gaps and a few more holes, but Kobe and Vern and Donnie up front on the offensive line, those guys have played a lot for us. Skylar Soward at tight end, he was one of those guys that played some as a freshman last year. He's got a lot of upside, so I'm excited about him coming in. And we know what Chris Martin is capable of. We've got some other explosive type players in the receiver positions that have been doing it. Some last year, and then in the spring, kind of proving what they could do. And obviously, we've got to get good, solid, winning, consistent quarterback play out of Jess, and so. Again, I think there's fewer question marks at this time going into this game for us than there were a year ago. Now, I think if there are any big questions, it's kind of what are we going to see from Birmingham Southern? They had an interesting offseason with some challenges because we didn't know whether or not we were going to get this game played, and so. Definitely some new faces on their side of the ball, but some guys that we recognize that are back. So I just think it's going to be a good matchup, and I know our guys are pretty hungry and they're foaming at the mouth, ready to get out there and get this first win.
You were talking about the defense. I was just doing my spot chart today, just going over the number of players you've got back on the defensive side, so that'll buy a little time for the offense to gel, won't it? Yeah,
I hope so. I really feel like we can rely on those guys. I think we're going to be able to lean on them all season. But I definitely feel like in the early going, while we attempt to find a rhythm on offense and figure out who our playmakers are going to be and figure out what's going to work for us and the tempo that we want to play at and what's going to kind of be the right fit for our quarterback and for our skill players and how that's going to gel. I feel like we can really rely on those guys on defense. I'm excited about our defensive line. I think we've got a lot of depth on that side. Dorian LeBlanc is a guy that came on really strong for us in the middle to the latter part of the season last year at interior defensive line. Just a really tough dude to block. I mean, he's 300 pounds and he's athletic and he's mean and he's quick. Is a team captain for us, so I expect him to make a lot of plays. And And honestly, I expect our linebackers to make a lot of plays, and he may not get his name called as much, because he's going to attract a lot of attention. Kane Stroman, he had a great sophomore season last year and was top 5 in sacks and tackles for loss. And he's a guy that's going to attract attention. He's going to play incredibly hard. And of course, you got Herman. James White is a third-year player at middle linebacker, and then I'm really excited about Tim Leatherman, Damon Dozier, Keyshawn Jonathan, Chris Baker, and Kamani Smith. That's a really, really strong stable of secondary players that have experience and that play really well together. So, yeah, we've got to figure it out on offense, and we've got to be able to score points and eliminate mistakes. But, I expect our defense to go out there and cause some takeaways and create some havoc, and hopefully we can give those guys a chance to play with a lot of green grass behind their backs.
At Birmingham Southern, this is an established program, division of the playoffs a couple of years ago, 7-3 a year ago. So this is a good team for you to go up against in the season opener to see the measure stick.
Yeah, no question. 2 years ago, when we were coming into this game, they were coming off of an 11-2 season, and the only ball game they lost in the regular season was to Trinity, and they lost that game 28-27, and Trinity was a top 5 team at that time. So, that's as good as Birmingham's ever been. I want to say they took a step backwards last year, but they lost a couple more ball games, but they still had a lot of the same stuff. They do have a new head coach. Their head coach, Tony Joe White, he left to take over the Austin College program, and then they hired from within. Anthony Colucci is a guy that's been around and has seen and experienced that, and has had a hand in their success in years past, and he's an alum. So I expect them to be really well coached, and it's going to be a good opening test for our program, to see how we stack up and see how we match up. And again, I'm familiar with this conference from being at Hendricks and seeing these guys year in and year out, and they just have an expectation of winning. So we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us. Like I always say, we got to come correct, because they'll be ready to play, and I think we will be too.
All right. Jess, you go up against this defense in practice. What do you see for them, and is it helping you become a better quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. our defense, like Coach said, they fly around the back 5. They're hard to complete the ball on, and then the linebackers, they sure take away the flats for me, especially like in the 7-on-7 deal. With the way they play, it's not easy to complete it, but like our receivers run great routes. They find gaps and windows and stuff like that, and so when they do that, it's easy for me to do my job and get them the ball in space. And like Coach Neal said, we have a lot of playmakers out there on receiver, and the defense we go against every day in practice, it definitely makes them better as well. But no, playing against our defense is not easy. They fly around, they make plays, and they sure make it hard on us.
Now you've got guys like Kobe in front of you. Talk about that offensive line, because Coach was saying several of them are back. How much is that helping you adjust to McMurray now?
The O-line has been great. Kobe being the guy that snaps me the ball. I've got a really good relationship with Kobe, Vern, Jordan, Donnie, and DJ. All of them. They do their part, and that makes it easier for me to just stand back there and know that those guys are going as hard as they can and doing their part to make it easier on me to do my part and get the ball out in space and let us make plays. Because they don't get the credit when we score touchdowns like they should, but it all starts with them initially. So when they do their job, which they normally do, it makes my job very easy. And so I appreciate them, and shoot, when Kobe snaps me the ball, I know he's going to take care of his block. Vern pulls, whether he stays in the protection or pulling or whatever it is, I know he's going to go find somebody and lay a hat on him. And then Big Donnie, he's going to go hard. There ain't no doubt about it. And then Jordan plays hard, and DJ's a workhorse. So, it all comes together, and I think we got 5 that are in front of me that are very talented and do their job extremely well.
What do you perceive as your strengths at quarterback? Are you a runner, passing, or what's your gig?
Predominantly throw. I like to throw the ball, but I don't take away my legs, because I think they're an asset that I bring to the table. But yeah, predominantly I'm able to read defense as well. I can see coverages and see man on man, and when that happens, it makes my job easier. But I like to throw the ball, sit back in the pocket, and kind of just pick defenses apart, whether it's dink and dunk down the field or take a big shot.
Kobe, what do you see from Jess that you like in practice?
Man, he stepped up. Whenever the season ended, we didn't have much room to move with the quarterbacks. When Jess came in, he stepped up and did what he does. And us as an offensive line, we do our best to keep him safe, and we just want to make sure he's always on his feet. If he's on the ground, we go chase him, make sure he's up. But we try to keep him off the ground as much as possible because he shouldn't be seeing that. He should be able to get the ball where he needs to be and make the play success.
How much does it help to have your guys beside you that you're familiar with as you're coming back this season?
I like that they're coming back because we're building a lot of team chemistry. We're trying to go out together and like build this bond that we didn't have a whole bunch of last year, but we're trying to create it and make it more of a trust instead of just trying to tell the next person beside us what to do. So we're just trying to get to that point where we can just call what we need to do and trust the person beside us to do their job as well.
Are you coming back from an injury from last year, or
it was a minor injury.
Okay.
I just got rolled up on, but it wasn't anything serious.
Well, Herman, I'm sorry, I haven't been trying to ignore you.
That's all right.
Same kind of questions. First off, so many players around you that you're familiar with. How has that helped you make that next step up to make McMurray contender in the American Southwest Conference in the final season?
Kind of the piggyback of what Jess said. Bring guys back who I'm familiar with, and I know that they're going to do their job and they're going to play hard. And like Tim, he's on the left side with me, and and we're always communicating throughout the game. And I know Tim's going to do his job, and it makes my job a whole lot easier knowing, if I have help in the flats or if I have help over top or help in the run game or stuff like that. And James White coming back, and I think he had a good season last year, and he looked so much better this year. Just going out throughout fall camp and. Having him next to me, and it just makes my life a whole lot easier. So.
And what do you see? Okay, you go up against Jess in practice. What do you think of the McMurray offense? What do you see from them and giving you some confidence while you're on the sideline?
Yeah, so Jess is a ball player. I mean, I feel like some of the stuff that we've lacked in the past at quarterback is I don't think we've had necessarily like a winner like at quarterback. I feel like Jess is a winner. And Jess is a ball player. He's going to go out and he's going to, he got to do what he has to do to get us a dub. And I feel like he's going to put his body on the line, and he's going to give us the best chance to go out there on Saturday, or I guess this week's on Thursday, to go and win. And so from that standpoint, I just feel like I got a lot of confidence in our offense, and we got a couple young guys on the offensive line, and and we're bringing back some, like Juice. Juice is a playmaker, and
That's Chris Martin.
Oh, Chris Martin. He's a playmaker, and we got a couple like other freshmen that are playing receiver that are playmakers, and so I got a lot of confidence in them, and I think we'll be. I mean, they'll lean on us, and as a defense, we'll lean on them. So it's
Jordan, what do you see when you look at Birmingham Southern this year compared to last year?
Well, again, there's some unknowns. They had a really outstanding running back last year, who we know he transferred, and I'm not upset about that. He was just a really outstanding player, and he's a guy that had a lot to do with the success that they had a year ago and 2 years ago especially. So a little bit of a question mark of what we're going to see at running back. I can't imagine they're going to be more explosive than they were. Because of how good that kid was. They also had a big 6'4" receiver that was really talented that drew a lot of attention, who's not in the picture anymore. But I think typically with Birmingham Southern, what you can always expect, they're going to be big and physical on the offensive line. They like to play with at least a tight end. A lot of times they'll put two of them out there. And usually those are big, long, tall, rangy guys that look kind of like our tight ends do. So I think our defense gets a little bit of a picture of that when they go against, Skylar Soward and Johnny Rhodes are both 6'3", 230, 240-pound type guys. So I expect them to be pretty good up front. They do have a quarterback that's back who this time a year ago, he was starting his first ball game as a college player. He's a sophomore. He's a lefty. Not extreme. He's not Michael Vick, but he's also not Troy. I mean, he can move around a little bit, and he can make some plays with his feet. He's the type of kid that I think manages the game well and doesn't allow them to. He just kind of limits mistakes, and so we've got to try to disrupt that guy. We got to try to make him beat us. We got to be able to stop the run. And I think we have the personnel to do that, and I believe we've got the scheme to do it. We just have to execute. Defensively, a lot of similar stuff. They've got the same defensive staff, so we expect them to be kind of a 4-down front, maybe a little bit of an odd flex type defense, but we expect them to be playing cover 4, cover 2, and a little bit of cover 3, which is stuff that we see from our defense all the time in practice. And we have a lot of things in our pass game, especially that where we're reading safeties and where safety coverage changes, that kind of adjusts the stem of our routes. And I think that's something that we've improved a ton at, in our offense, as far as our receivers really having, their eyes and, the framework, the structure of what we're trying to do. I think they understand it better now than they ever have. And so we just have to execute. We've got to catch the football. We've got to go make some plays. We can't afford to, make mistakes, because I think Birmingham, it's a very, very, very high academic school. This is going to be a bunch of smart guys, that don't tend to beat themselves. But we've got some smart football players too. We've got guys that know how to play, and I think it's going to be a matter of who's in the best physical shape and who can, limit and eliminate mistakes. I think that's typically who wins in week 1.
What impressed you the most about preseason?
I think the chemistry from our team. I think that I really like the team we have. I like the way our leaders have kind of risen to the forefront. It was fun to get with our staff and to take a democratic vote from our team on our team captains, because we had probably 12 or 15 guys that you could justify all of those guys being team captains. We only have 6, and so it was kind of a photo finish with some of those, who's in, who's out. But I was pleased to see that, to see that, we've got guys on our team that are candidates to be team captains. Being a team captain doesn't qualify you as a leader, or not being a team captain doesn't disqualify you as a leader. But I just feel like the group that we've got this year, I see a lot more togetherness, I see more positivity, and I see more winners. Herm kind of said this. We've got more guys on our team right now that represent winning high school football programs. We've got a young man from Holly on our team who is on a 16-game win streak. We've got several from South Oak Cliff that are on, that have won 29 out of their last 32 games in high school football, and 2 straight state championships. And those are just ones that stand out right in front of me, but we've got a lot more of those type of kids. Better programs represented, and I think that's a credit to the way our coaching staff has recruited and gotten into really good programs, and we've wrestled some good players away from competitive programs in our conference. And so just got to keep them, we got to grow them, and I see a lot of, we're playing for Thursday, but I see a lot of bright and positive things in the future, especially as we move to a new conference, and just continue to take our guys that are freshmen now and get them to be sophomores a year from now, and sophomores to juniors, and then, at least this guy right here, who's a junior, get him to his senior year, and that's really what you need to be successful in Division III football. So I see a lot of that.
Jess, game 1, new guy. You're kind of everybody's going to be looking at you a lot because you're the new quarterback. How's McMurray football? What has it meant to you so far? You're new to campus. What have you thought so far about it?
It's been really good. I mean, it's been I told Coach Neal this is coming from a JUCO, it wasn't really like a team. And so, day 1 when I stepped on here, I met several of the guys, and I was like, yeah, this is a place I can play football. It's been a very welcoming place. It's been a fun place. And I think everybody's kind of fighting for the same goal at this point. We've got one goal on line Thursday, and I think everybody's on board. And it's a good place to be. It's a fun place to be. Coaches love the kids love the coaches. Teammates love each other. It's been a really good experience, and it's been a great place for me to be. I couldn't have asked for a better place coming from a JUCO. I couldn't have asked for a better place to come in and kind of earned my spot. I mean, Coach Neal told me that when he called me. He was like, hey, I've got a spot. I'm not giving it to you, but it's open. So, I mean, I respect that. I mean, I didn't want anything handed. But when I got here, I mean, everybody was real welcoming. But other than that, I mean, it's just been a really, really, really good place for me to be at, and a fun place. I mean, I enjoy everything here in Abilene. I mean, it's easy to get around, so I don't get lost going home or anything like that. So I can't
That's a
complain.
plus. There you go.
You know, I'll jump in too. You know, I can't speak for Jess, but you know, it's I've been kind of gotten a little of my own deja vu thinking about whenever I was getting ready to make my first start as a college player. It was my second year. I was a red shirt, you know, and going into that second year, and so I had a little bit of experience under my belt, you know, like he does. So it's not like Jess is totally unproven, but you know, he hasn't been out there yet with our team and played in that live setting just yet. But you know, I remember feeling, you know, in some sense like, hey, it's all on me. You know, how I play is how our team plays. But I remember something that Coach Keeling and Coach Wardis told me. It was very simple. It wasn't anything novel, but they just told me kind of quietly and sort of calmly before the game, said, you don't have to do this thing by yourself. You know, and that's the same thing that I've tried to, you know, imprint in his mind that, yeah, there's it kind of, our offense runs through the quarterback. We need him to step up and play well, and we're not out there experimenting with the quarterback position. You know, Jess is our guy right now, and so we're going to give him an opportunity to get out there and get confident and get some completions. And try to get him to a point where he really feels like he's in command and has an opportunity to play like he's capable, because he's shown that he can be a dynamic player for us, and the leadership qualities are there. And I know whenever I was recruiting him, almost every time I called him, he was out like working on a fence or doing something with his hands. I thought, you know what, I want that guy in my program. You know, and his play has shown that. He's a tough guy. He's heads up. And his skill set allows us to do everything that we want to do in our offense. So I'm very, very excited to be calling the plays and to have a guy that I know understands kind of what I'm trying to do with our scheme and our rhythm, and I expect him to play really well.
David? Anything? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.